So we're into the last couple of months of 2024, and assuming there are no delays, we should be due to see Build 42 before the year's end. That said, now is a great time to try out some new map mods before the big update comes around, and many of them need updating. In this video, I'll be taking you through a selection of recent map mods added to the Steam Workshop that I think are worth your time. As always, there will be a link in the description to all the mods shown in this video. Like and subscribe if you find yourself something to try, and with all that out of the way, let's jump into map number 1. To kick this video off, I wanted to come in strong and throw out a map that covers a pretty large surface area, 33 cells to be exact. This is New Albany, located just to the north of Louisville, right across the Ohio River. Now, first and foremost, I love where this one is placed. I know for a lot of players, Louisville is a huge challenge just by itself, but this adds a new reason to attempt that challenge, and if you can make it through Louisville, you're rewarded with yet another city to loot and explore. New Albany is packed full of high-rise buildings, busy city streets, full of different storefronts, and while it is primarily meant to offer an urban experience, there's still a couple of locations for those that like to choose a safe house in more rural climes. I even found a nice little wooden cabin out on a small island in the middle of a lake, which would be perfect for those that like to live out in the sticks. As a bit of a heads up, if you want to run this one, you will need a good handful of tile packs, but considering the size of the map itself, I think that's fair, and I mean, there's a reason why almost 14,000 players have downloaded this map since it was uploaded under a month ago. High quality, lots of great looting to be had, plenty of unique locations, and safe house opportunities for every player. Okay, so we've had a large map to kick things off, now let's look at something a little more modest, but all the same, a great location to explore. Next up is Hartberg. From the creator of the popular Pineville map comes a rural country village that lies west of Rosewood. Now, if you're running the legendary Raven Creek modded map, it makes for a great stopover location or somewhere to set up shop temporarily while you prepare for the arduous task of working your way into the city. Hartberg gives off some real backwater vibes to me. The buildings are worn and eroded, the rooftops of most buildings are losing tiles here and there or have mismatched replacements, and quite a few of the houses have had their own farm plots installed too, so it really sells that sleepy little village vibe for me. Some of those larger buildings with their own farming plots make for great safe house choices, or you could set up at the local gas station or even the police department. Now, the modder describes Hartberg as a hunting village, but there's an interesting twist for this one too. There's a large factory and industrial area on the east side of the village, with its own worker housing too. What's unique about this complex is that it's actually a furniture factory, so if you're wanting to set up somewhere that's a little less conventional, maybe somewhere that doesn't have a lot of those decorative or functional items that you'd be looking for in a safe house, this industrial complex offers some of those items that you can then take back to your safe house of choice and make it more viable. It's something interesting to explore and serves a functional purpose. Since the end of October, when this map was uploaded, it's had just over 11,000 subscribers, and it's a really good showing of how a map doesn't need to be large to be worth exploring. No tile packs required for this one either, so you can keep things vanilla with this one if that's your taste. If you're looking for a map that's a little larger than Hartberg, however, and is in a very similar area of the map, you can try out Kownstown. This comes from the same creator as the Hartberg map, and the two work together really nicely, being placed beside one another. Kownstown is a map with a great deal of variety. Yes, there's your rural safe house buildings that lay on the outskirts and offer a relatively safe area to call your home, but there's also some large residential housing developments, and larger central buildings that are very impressive to look at from the outside. Now, this map isn't a city, it's a town, as the name suggests, so while there are some busy streets, we're not talking high-rise buildings or office blocks for the most part. Some of the more interesting locations to check out in this one include the fire station, the motel, and One-Eyed Willie, the local bar. If you want to run this one with Raven Creek, just a heads up that there's a few instructions on the workshop page for this one to make sure that the two maps play nice together, so make sure you check that out before starting your playthrough. Okay, we've had a city map, we've had a village, and now we've seen a town, but how about an entire island? This is Eventure Island, located right at the northwest corner of the map at the end of the Ohio River. Now, this map mod was made specifically for events, and as such such, it's important to note that there is just one single spawn point for this one, and that I'm not entirely sure this island can be reached even if you have boat mods installed. For that reason, I'd recommend playing this map as more of a challenge run situation where you spawn on the island itself rather than wiring it into a playthrough where you're hoping to make your way over to it eventually. Now, Eventure Island uses just 2 tile packs, but the way it uses them is incredibly high quality. I've seen modded maps before with a list of 6 or 7 tile packs involved that look mostly the same as the vanilla map, but the modder of this one has managed to utilize the tools available to them to make something entirely unique. It's fun to explore from start to finish, whether you're checking out the floating houses along one of the docks or taking a stroll through the local park. There's a ton of really cool areas that just look entirely different to the vanilla setting. Now, I don't want to spoil this one too much because with maps like these ones, first discoveries make for the best experiences, but I'd strongly recommend giving this one a look when you get the chance. For our next map in today's video, we're leaving behind Kentucky entirely and taking a look at something that's entirely standalone. This is the My Summer Car map, and while this isn't one that's going to give you life and death experiences in Project Zomboid, it's definitely going to be a kick of nostalgia for those that have played My Summer Car. You can spawn in the house that you actually start in with the original game set in rural Finland. Sure, you're not going to find this incredibly challenging, but it can make for a nice fun break from the usual fighting for your life, and instead, you can just take a little bit of time to work on your pride and joy before taking it out for a Sunday drive. Okay, so we're back to Kentucky with the next one in today's list, taking a look at north of Killian country. This map is another one that fills a pretty large area of the map itself, based directly west of Muldrow and just to the south of Fallas Lake. This is another map that offers you a bit of everything. In fact, it's actually 3 different towns or cities in a single map mod. One of my favorite areas of this map has to be the beachfront, where you can still see all the sun lounges, tents, and parasols from residents that have long vacated the area. If you like maps with plenty of hidden treasures and Easter eggs, the map modder states there's over 30 secret rooms or Easter eggs in this map, and there's even a huge prison centered on an island in the middle of a lake right between the 3 towns or cities you'll be traveling between in this mod. I don't want to ruin the experience of exploring that location, but you can see this image on the workshop page itself that shows the complex in all its glory. Quick note here, you will need a boat to reach this location, so make sure you're running the appropriate mods for that. This map uses 5 tile packs in total and is a fantastic option if you're looking for a bit of everything, from rural trailer parks to tourist beachfronts and busy downtown shopping areas. I even found what looks to be an old military fort that was mostly unoccupied and didn't really have any valuable loot, but it could make for a very fun base location to try out in your runs if you're looking for a little building project. The next one on the docket for today is one that I think is going to be fantastic for anyone looking for new safe house locations that have a bit of something special. This is Buffalo Hill, a map that finds itself along the banks of the Ohio River between Riverside and West Point. Now, when I say this map has some fantastic safe houses, I'm really not understating it. If you're a fan of the mansions on the west side of Louisville, for example, these houses are very similar to those, but I would say probably even better. If you're one for fishing, there's some bodies of water scattered around this map. There's some great points of interest in this one, like some wealthy housing projects, what looks to be a large country club, and downtown areas too, like this water feature if you're looking for a little bit of respite amongst the hustle and bustle. The high streets are filled with great looting options, and the setting itself is reinforced by fantastic use of many tile packs you'll need for this one, which is pretty much the map's only downside as far as I can see. The modder does note that while the map is mostly finished, there's a few bugs left to fix, so make sure to keep that in mind too. With less than 5,000 downloads, this is one of the most underrated mods in today's listings, and one I definitely recommend. We're off back to the far western reaches of the map with the next mod for today's video, and that's with the town of Elroy, a quaint little town that features campsites, plenty of forest walks with rivers that splinter through various parts of the area. It's not a massive map by any means, but comes with a good selection of potential safe house spots, and you won't need a single tile pack with this one either. It's entirely vanilla, meaning you can keep your mod list light if you want to, and and there's still plenty of cool locations to find, like this little hunter's shack that I managed to locate out in the woods, for example. If that's not your style, there's plenty of upmarket housing options and suburban housing too. Elroy is a relatively quiet location where the zombie counts don't get too overwhelming, but with it being so far out to the west, away from most of the other spawn locations and areas worth looting on the vanilla map, I'd consider throwing in some more maps around this one just to give you some places to travel to that aren't going to take you hours to get to and from. Now, speaking of other maps in the area, if you need a suggestion for one of those, this next one will be a great choice for you. This is Catha Valley 2.0, a rework of an existing map. What I love about this one is, despite the relatively small size of the town, Catha Valley comes with a lot of challenges and some really cool post-apocalypse scenes for your effort. The map itself is located just to the south of where our previous selection, Elroy, would be if you were to install it, on the very far western road hugging the edge of the map. The most impressive part of Catha Valley has to be the absolutely massive survivor stronghold that can be found on the northern end of this map mod. It encompasses a large area with a wall constructed of shipping containers. Within is a range of buildings, a body of water, and plenty of fortifications. The only trouble is that the place is already overrun with Zeds, and you'll have your work cut out for you if you intend to clear it out entirely. A fantastic mod to try if you're looking for some challenging encounters and high difficulty, high reward situations. Okay, our last mod for today's video is Port Hope, based in the southeastern section of the map, directly east of the crossroads. Port Hope is a fantastic location to visit if you're hoping to stock up on military supplies, especially, with a large part of the town having been turned into a makeshift military checkpoint and quarantine zone. Now, that's definitely not all this location has to offer though, with a good amount of variety in the residential areas, a large body of water just to the south of the town that offers some fishing opportunities, and locations like the fire department that can make for a perfect safe house, similar in construction to the popular vanilla alternative in Rosewood. Port Hope is another map that requires absolutely zero tile packs and can be run entirely vanilla, making it a great choice for an area of the map that is often left empty. So that's it from me in this video, folks. I hope you've been able to come away with at least one or two maps you haven't tried before, and if there's any more that I haven't covered in this video that you've been enjoying lately, feel free to let me know down in the comments section below. As always, there will be a link in the description to all the mods in this video, and finally, thank you very much to all of my Patreon supporters for backing the channel and for joining our multiplayer server for just £3 a month. You guys keep me doing what I do, and I couldn't be more thankful for you. Thanks everyone, and I will see you all in the next one.